Hey everybody, welcome back to Vital Vessels. I'm Christine, I am your host, and you know what I do. I bring amazing organ donors to the show and recipients, anyone else involved in the process. I'm here today with Jen, who is an amazing, I'm so excited, donor. She's a living organ donor. Welcome to Vital Vessels. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm thrilled.
So let's start out. I like to start right at the beginning and we'll kind of move through chronologically. Tell me how you know your recipient.
She is my younger sister.
Family.
So there's 3 girls.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have any brothers. And Glenda is the middle one. I'm the oldest.
Oh, right on.
So
okay.
I have 2 younger sisters.
So was she sick before? Or did this come on suddenly? How did this happen?
She was sick. Not knowing, and it took years, unfortunately, for them to find out. Well, she drank, and we knew she drank. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't this big secret.
Yeah.
And she just was getting sick, and we couldn't figure out why. Well, on top of getting sick, the more she drank. Because the more pain, discomfort she was in, the more drinking she did to cover up the pain and discomfort. It took them about 3 years, if I remember right, 3.5 years to realize that she has celiac.
Oh, wow. So celiac came into play. Okay.
So they found out about 1.5 years before she hit rock bottom that she was, had celiac. And that's why her guts were in so much pain that she was covering up with alcohol.
Right. Which is a grain product.
Exactly.
Which exacerbates the celiac.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So she was diagnosed with liver failure, or
no? How
did that work? Tell me.
January 8th, 2020, she got life flighted to the University of Utah Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And not that we hadn't seen her in and out of hospitals, in and out, 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 and medical up the wazoo. I can't even imagine how much money and time was spent on hospital bills. But we all knew she was an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
She exhibited lots of symptoms, lots of reasons, lots of situations. And so we all knew, but she wouldn't own up to it.
Right.
But on January 8th, 2020, she ended up being life flighted to the University of Utah Hospital. Mm-hmm. I didn't find out till the next day. And I lost it. And I got to the hospital and she had tubes and IVs and stuff coming out of every possible part of her body that was available, and she was spitting out blood out of her breathing tube, and the doctor gave her a 5% chance of survival.
Wow, that's a scary moment.
Yeah, and I lost it.
I bet you lost it.
And she was my one. She's my person. She's my one that gets me the most out of my 2 sisters. That's like Jen.
You're like, I can't lose my person.
No. And I had a really hard time.
I bet. So how long was she in? She was in ICU, I assume?
Yes. She was there for 2 weeks, a little over 2.5 weeks.
And as she started progressing, of course, she got better.
Yeah.
As she was getting better, when was she told? How was that message conveyed that she was going to need a liver?
Sad thing was she was told years before that.
Oh,
by doctors.
So she'd been warned.
They're like, Glenda, if you keep drinking, you're going to die.
Yeah.
If you keep doing this, you're going to die.
Right.
She even had one doctor tell her, Glenda, the next time I see you is going to be in the morgue on a slab if you don't stop what you're doing. And she didn't.
Yeah. She
just kept going. And I didn't know anything really about alcoholism until going through this process with her. And I'm going to tell you, it's humongously infuriating to watch somebody that you love and care about doing something that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
2 is, it's killing you. Why aren't you stopping?
Yeah.
That does not make sense to me. It does not compute in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with a lot of people, it doesn't compute. Mm-hmm. And that's the hardest thing, is because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You're going to die.
Yeah. Why don't you stop?
Why don't you stop?
Well, and I don't know if you remember this little bit of information, and I am a recovering alcoholic myself. And I think that's why our connection was so strong that day at the donor walk, is that I'm 29 years sober.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get why people are in the obsession. So, she got to that point. She had that awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's told now she's on the transplant list.
She
They had parameters
yeah,
though.
she still had to be 6 months clean.
Yep.
And so she had to go in, I think, at least once a month to get blood tested and whatnot.
They had to verify.
Yeah. And then, sadly to say, because it was COVID time, she
yeah.
couldn't go to AA.
Oh, yeah, they were all online.
All
the meetings were online.
All the meetings were, yeah. And she couldn't really do that. And so she couldn't really, I mean, she did online and whatnot. She made some friends.
Yeah.
And was able to kind of talk about it, but it was still
Hanging
not the
on.
perfect scenario, being an alcoholic or a drug addict or whatever.
Needing that social.
Yeah. One-on-one time to see somebody.
Yeah.
And be like, you know what I'm going through.
Right.
And I didn't know what she was going through.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and dad didn't know what she was going through. My other sister didn't even know what she was going through.
So she got sober in January.
She did. She actually, being in the hospital was benefit because she got to be on all the medications that kind of helps detox your body,
yeah,
which was great for her because she was able to be detox in the hospital during that whole process, which was awesome. So she came out clean,
right,
and healthier, and she was in a rehab center for a while because she needed to learn how to walk again, almost because her muscles had already started to atrophy a little bit.
Atrophied, okay.
So she needed some little bit of support there.
Yeah.
So that was good for her. And then she got home. So never had a calling that I should give up in Oregon.
Right.
It wasn't anything like that. I admire people that have those moments. I wasn't it. But I knew that I could do this for her. And so, of course, I started researching and getting educated. And
did you talk to your family first, or did you talk to your recipient, Glenda, first? Do you remember?
I don't even think I talked to Glenda about it.
Really?
Mm-mm.
You just started doing some research?
Mm-hmm.
When did you let your family know, your husband?
Randy kind of knew from early on that I was thinking about it, that I thought that I would do this, and he wasn't going to stand in my way. I mean, this is my sister. I was gung-ho and ready to do it.
So you filled out, and did you do the online form first?
Yes.
And then they call you?
Yes.
And you do all the tests?
The fun thing is we're both compatible blood-wise.
You already knew that?
So we already knew that, so it was pretty much, let's go.
Great. So. And then they bring you in and they do that 3 days of testing.
Yeah. Which is so much
every
fun.
Test under the sun. I think I've said it in every interview.
Yes.
EKGs and MRIs and CTs, and they make sure they know your liver
inside
every single blood vessel, bile duct, every connector. They know that.
Yeah. I wish I would have brought mine. I have the model of my liver.
I don't have a model.
I'm so stupid. I didn't think to bring it.
I should have. Oh, dang it. I have a stuffed liver.
I do too. But
did you have one of those too?
Yes, they actually gave me, because they did a 3D printing of my liver.
I'm so jealous.
And they gave it to me as my
parting gift.
My party price.
They had parting gifts. I didn't get a parting gift.
I know. Here's your liver. It's plastic. Here you go.
So from, you had all the tests done. They have that meeting. You get the call.
Yeah.
What did you do next? How did that go?
I cried because they denied me.
They denied you?
They denied me.
What grounds did they choose?
I wasn't worried about my health. I was more worried about Glenda.
Okay, so they were worried about your health. In what, and how did you convince them? What happened?
You know when you get sent to the principal's office?
Yeah.
I got sent to Dr. Gilroy.
I remember Dr. Gilroy. He comes up in these interviews too.
And he's quite the head honcho, the man that knows all.
Absolutely.
And so you know you're in trouble if you get sent up to him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked Amy, why?
Why am I going to
goes,
Dr. Gilroy's office?
Because you're more worried about helping Glenda and you're not worried about yourself. And I was like, I don't see the problem in this. What's the problem in this?
Uh-huh.
And so I kind of started thinking about it and whatnot. And I went and saw Dr. Gilroy, who was super funny and really great.
He's amazing.
I love when they give you that paperwork while you're there and they're like, have you had sex with the same person for so many years? Have you smoked? Have you drank? Have you traveled out of the United States? All this kind of stuff. And I'm like, no. And he goes, well, why do you want to do this? I said, because I want to say yes on something. And he thought that was super funny because I wanted to say, yes, I'm an organ donor. Yes, check that box with pride.
That's it. And you have something to talk about when you go to the doctor's office.
But I just told him, I said, I get this is a big deal. I mean, I'm a perfectly healthy woman walking into a surgery with my pom-poms cheering, going, let's do this. And you guys are all going, she's delusional. But no, I know this is a big deal. And I did. And he passed me off.
He checked.
I got the call. I got the call the next week that I was approved.
Wonderful.
And I was able to call Glenda.
And then, I was going to say, how did she react?
She will tell you she had mixed signals.
Did she?
Because she did not want this. She didn't feel like she was worthy of it. She didn't feel like she was sick enough.
Okay.
She didn't feel any of that. So I basically hog-tied her to the bumper and hauled her butt to the hospital to have this done.
So from the day you were approved, how long before the surgery?
I want to say it was 3 or 4 months. It was it seemed like forever.
Did it?
Yes.
So you get the call. You schedule the surgery. It's like 3 or 4 months out. And then the day comes that you're having your surgery. Did you go in together?
We did.
What was that morning like?
We met at the parking lot. We had to be there at 5:30 in the morning. And we met there about 5:30, and we're unloading our suitcases and our pillows and our blankets.
It's like you're going on a girls' weekend.
It's like, let's go slumber party. And
we'll do facials.
Yeah, we get in there and we're just, but I felt so much calmness and so much happiness, and just, I was relaxed. I was not afraid. I was not scared. I trust Dr. Rodriguez with everything I have. He was my surgeon, and he was phenomenal and kind and generous, and he is amazing. And so I knew early on in my visiting with him and going into my appointments and whatnot, I knew I could trust him. I just felt it in every fiber of my body that I could trust him, and so I did. Yeah. So, and the staff was amazing and funny, and
they're so wonderful. Yeah. So, and the anesthesiologist is the last person you see before you go in.
You barely get, he comes in, kind of visits with you, and then off you go. And I get in there, I said hi to everybody that was in there already.
Oh, yeah.
I go, hi, everybody. And they were like, hi. And I was like, okay. And then I was asleep. I didn't even.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
So when you have the liver, when you donate a liver, that you wake up in the ICU.
I didn't even wake up then.
So tell me about coming up, when you woke up, was there anything significant? What happened when you came out of the surgery, and what was that journey like?
It was very bizarre. I was one of those people that had a huge issue with the ketamine. Yeah.
So how long were you on the transplant floor?
See, we had surgery on Tuesday and we left Saturday.
Oh, you did well. I was there 6 days.
Yeah.
And you just make such good friends with all of those.
Oh, of course. The nurses are phenomenal.
And of course, Glenda was there with you.
Yes, she was.
Okay, so we get to share this because I did the same thing, because I had a girlfriend on there. So you guys did you have room service delivering to the room?
No, we didn't. We should have. Darn it. We need to go back and do this again.
I know.
Darn it.
You got a kidney still. Let's do it.
I was just happy to get a pet.
So you spend 4 days in the hospital and then you get home. It's a long recovery.
Yes. Not too bad.
How long were you off work?
I took 3 months off work.
Were there any fears that you did have? No?
I didn't. I really didn't. I really don't know why I didn't. I think because I was just so gung-ho at making sure I got this done and that Glenda was healthy and she was still here.
That is the beauty of all of it. And I remember waking up from the surgery, and the first thing in my mind was, where's Carrie? Where's my recipient? Do you remember seeing Glenda for the first time?
I do not remember seeing Glenda for the first time, but there is a picture of me in her room.
Oh, yeah, you were busy having hallucinations.
Yes, but I do know because Glenda told me that I went in and I made sure she was okay, and then I planted a big old smoochy kiss right on her forehead.
That's awesome.
I went, wow, and just kissed her, and she was like, okay, you're weird.
Yes, it's such an honor to sit with someone who felt that it's like I feel this kinship
Mhm.
with someone who felt the calling or felt that comfort
Mhm.
and that care for another.
Yeah.
You know, in a world where we're so much about ourselves,
Oh yeah.
that most of us only care about how many likes we get, which means, sorry, but
Get one of these, guys.
that's right. I care about spreading the word. I care about other people knowing that this is a safe way to go. And did you have anybody that was uncomfortable with you doing the surgery? Did anyone say, "Are you sure? Are you scared? Don't do it"?
I had, the biggest thing is because of Glenda being an alcoholic, was why would you do this? Is she going to really quit drinking? And that is a serious thought. And
yeah, it's a valid point.
For anybody out there who's got family members that are alcoholics or addicts in any way, shape, or form, and they are to this point where they need
Mm-hmm.
a transplant or anything else, it is a serious thought. And that is definitely probably one of the hardest things I had to wrap my head around, because I'm like, okay, I've tried everything I can to get her to quit drinking.
Mm-hmm.
I have literally driven to her house and pulled her out of her bed and done things and been at hospitals with her, and I've done all this, and she's still not getting clean. This is the last thing I can do for her. Is she going to stay clean? And that's the magic question.
Right.
And it's really hard to go, you know what, Jen? You've done everything you can for her, and what she decides to do with it is not on you. You've done it all.
Yeah.
There's nothing else on God's green earth that you can do any different. And will you regret it if you don't do it? Yeah, I would. Highly regret if I never did it.
Right. So the one thing that happened after I healed up is I became driven, i.e. Vital Vessels, to promote and spread the word. How has donated an organ changed your life?
Well, one, I have Glenda here still. And we used to talk every day.
Right.
Every day we'd FaceTime and talk to each other. But I think it's made me fully aware. I've always been an organ donor. I checked that box on my driver's license when I was 16. Yes, please check your box.
That's right.
What are you going to do with it later? Nothing.
Nothing.
Give it to somebody. But I've always had that box checked, so I never thought twice about it. But I think it's made me more of an advocate. And where I work, I check driver's licenses all the time, and I'm like, why aren't you an organ donor?
Oh, you say that? Yeah, see?
Some people I will not say that to, but some people I will. And I'm like, why aren't you an organ donor? And they're like, well, I've never really thought. I'm like, promise me you'll just think about it. Because you can always change that.
Absolutely.
Because there are people out there that need organ donors. And sadly to say, it's got to be a perfect storm to be an organ donor.
Yeah.
It's not.
They're careful.
It's not perfect and it's not pretty. But if you are in an accident or heart attack or something like that and you pass away, it still has to be a perfect storm for you to be able to donate your organs to somebody else.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you want to do that for somebody?
Absolutely.
And so it's made me more of an advocate, and I have met people happenstancely who have either donated or need an organ, and I've been able to talk with them about it and my perspectives and what happened. And it's interesting how Glenda's ran into people. It's just like all of a sudden it's opened up this whole window for us.
That's what I've
noticed. We never even knew.
It's magic. Yeah. It's magic. And hopefully with Vital Vessels will take off.
I hope so.
If you were to talk to an organ donor or someone considering it, just watching this video, what advice would you give them?
Besides just do it. But it is definitely given a piece of yourself in a way that I can't even explain. It's a heavenly feeling of being able to do that for somebody. And I have a friend right now who needs a kidney. And do you think I wish I could give my kidney to him? I do. Every day. Yeah. I do. But it's not in my wheelhouse right now. But it's the greatest and best gift you can give to somebody. And get educated. Get educated, because I feel like knowledge is power, and the more powerful you can get, the more you can talk to people who have donated, the more you can talk to people who have received. The the internet is full of stories and Facebook pages and whatnot on this, and all I say is just get educated. Just learn what you're looking at and what you can do for people, because I would hands down do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've considered a kid. Well, I've put a link in Vital Vessels chat. If you look through my little links, I have a link to Intermountain Medical Donate Life transplant team. So you can go there and fill out the application. If you don't live in Utah, any hospital that has a transplant team has a website where you can fill out all your information. But you can find a lot of information on UNOS, which is the United Network of Organ Sharing. Their website has a ton of information to find out, which is what I did as well.
Right.
When I was considering, I went and researched the process, found that it was very safe, and I love the advice because it's true. It does feel heavenly. It feels like you're able to do something that is outside of yourself and bigger than just little old humans activity. It's heavenly. And I love that. And
I also want to plug one little thing.
I believe in plugging things.
I love that you're a recovering alcoholic. And I hope people out there hear this, because don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up on somebody who has an addiction.
Yes. And that's another thing. And I'm glad you bring that up.
Because it is so worth it. It's so worth it.
This is such an amazing experience.
It's just an addiction, people.
Yes.
It's just an addiction. It's not who they are.
Exactly.
It's what's going on.
And you know what? I believe in carrying the message, not the mess.
Right.
Helping someone get help. Sometimes it takes a lot of times through treatment to get it, unfortunately. But I myself, I'm 29 years sober. I still am active in a program of recovery, and I believe that's part of what drew us together and why I'm so excited to interview Sister here in just a couple of hours. So stay tuned for that one. That's Glenda, and you'll see that come up on Vital Vessels. And I'm so grateful that we've met and that I'm able to share this story. And I've felt this little drive to talk to people and welcome them to the show. And I am beyond honored. Thank you for coming. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining Vital Vessels today. And Jen, thank you for coming to the show.
Anytime.
And hit that follow button. Get the word out. Share your story. If you have a story that you want to share with Vital Vessels, send me a private message. Thank you. Bye now.